The Pizza Patch by Jill McDougall. The Best Spot by Charlotte. Today is cool and cloudy. We're going to build a food garden at school. Today, Mrs. Lee helped us to plan it. First, we found the best place for our garden. It's a sunny spot that's sheltered from the wind. It's close to a water tap, and Mrs. Lee says it has really good soil too. Mrs. Lee knows everything about gardening. This spot looks good. If we plan our garden well, hopefully we will grow lots of food. Our garden plan. Garden beds. Fruit trees. Chicken coop. Worm farm. Compost bins.
What is it? It is an area for growing plants. Think of it as a small plot of land within your garden where you cultivate your favorite flowers, vegetables, or herbs. It can be typically framed with wood, stone, or other materials. It has the advantage of better soil drainage and easier access for planting and maintenance. The answer is a garden bed.
Watch out, weeds! By Kevin. Today is hot and windy. Today, everyone helped build the garden. Gemma and I dug up weeds and put them in a bucket of water. In a few weeks, we will take the rotting weeds out of the water and put them in the compost bin. Watch out, weeds! We don't stand a chance. Our new garden is ready for planting.
What are they? They are plants considered undesirable in the garden, often because they compete with cultivated plants for nutrients, water, and sunlight. People often pull them out of the garden. They are weeds.
The Pizza Patch by Stella. Today is bright and sunny. Today, we made a pizza patch. We really did. A pizza patch grows vegetables and herbs to go on pizzas. Tips for making a pizza patch. 1. Pull the weeds out of your garden bed and rake the soil. 2. Add some manure. 3. Add some straw to keep the soil from getting dry. 4. Plant different seedlings in different parts of the garden bed. Each plant will grow a topping for a pizza. We are growing tomatoes, spring onions, courgettes, and basil for our pizzas. Josh and I are planting a tomato seedling.
What are they? They are young plants that have just started to grow from seeds. They are in the early stage of development and are typically very small and weak. This is the critical period when they need extra care, such as sufficient light, water, and nutrients, to ensure they develop strong roots and healthy leaves. They are seedlings.
A Lot of Rot by Zoe. Today is hot and dry. Today, we made compost. Compost is made from lots of things that rot. It's a great fertilizer for plants. Emily and I are putting some leaves into the compost bin. Compost recipe. You will need green stuff, fresh grass and plant clippings, fruit and vegetable scraps, a handful of soil. Brown stuff, dried leaves and straw. Water. What to do? Put the green stuff, brown stuff, scraps and soil into your compost bin. Then sprinkle on some water until the pile is damp. Over time, everything will rot and guess what? You've made compost.
What is it? It is nature's recycling system. It's a way to convert organic waste, like food scraps, leaves, and grass, into nutrient-rich soil. This is done through a process of decomposition, where bacteria and fungi break down the organic matter. The answer is compost.
From Flower to Fruit by Alex. Today is warm. Big yellow flowers are growing on the courgette plant. Behind them, baby courgettes are starting to grow. 1. Flowers grow on the plant. 2. Bees move pollen from one flower to another. 3. Tiny courgettes start to grow.
What is it? It is a fine, powdery substance produced by the male part of a flower, the stamen, or by male cones in some plants. Its primary role is to fertilize the female egg cells so that plants can reproduce. It is often carried by wind, insects, birds, or other animals to the female part of the plant. The answer is pollen.
The Worm Farm by Marcus. Today is windy. Today, we looked at our worm farm. The worms munch on food scraps and leave behind heaps of worm poo called castings. We mixed some worm poo with water to make a kind of worm tea. We fed this to the plants. Our worm tea will help the plants grow. Worms are cool! Ew! Worm poo! The Worm Farm. Straw. Food scraps. Lots of worms. Worm castings. Water that drips out. Today's menu. Apple cores. Eggshells. Tea bags. Chomp, chomp. Pesky Pests by Vanessa. Today is showery. Help! The pizza patch is being invaded. It's not aliens invading our garden. It's pests. Snails are snacking on the basil and slugs are chomping on the tomatoes. We picked off the pests and fed them to the chickens. Gulp! Got you! We catch snails and slugs with old orange halves. They creep under them to hide from the sun. Bugs that eat other bugs. Not all bugs in the garden are pests. These bugs feed on the pesky plant eaters. Ladybird. Lacewing. Hoverfly. Ground beetle.
What is it? It is a method of using worms to decompose organic waste and turn it into nutrient-rich compost. It's an eco-friendly way to recycle kitchen scraps and garden waste. The answer is a worm farm.
The Scarecrow by Andy. Today is sunny. Some of the cherry tomatoes are ripe. I popped one in my mouth and splat! It burst open. It was warm and sweet. Yum! Birds like to eat tomatoes too. We had to come up with a plan to scare them away, so we made a scarecrow. Scarecrows can keep birds away. Time to pick. By George. Today is warm. Hooray! The pizza plants are ready for picking. Tomorrow we'll have a pizza party. Today we picked tomatoes, courgettes, basil leaves, spring onions.
What are they? They're placed in fields to scare away birds and other animals from eating or damaging crops. Traditionally, they are made by dressing up a wooden frame with old clothes and a straw-stuffed body to make it resemble a person. They are scarecrows.
The Pizza Party by Charlotte. Today is bright and sunny. Today the school kitchen was a busy place. We made pizza dough and chopped up our vegetables. Soon we could smell the pizzas cooking. My pizza had cheese, courgette, tomato, basil, and spring onion on it. I was about to pick up a slice when, oops, a hungry caterpillar had crawled onto my pizza.
Do you know the name of this pizza topping? They are courgettes. In the US, zucchini. Do you know the name of this pizza topping? They are spring onions or green onions. Do you know the name of this pizza topping? The name is tomatoes. Do you know the name of this pizza topping? They are basil leaves.
Glossary. Compost. A mixture of rotten plants and rotten food that is used to feed living plants. Fertilizer. Food for plants. Manure. Poo from animals such as cows, horses, and chickens. Pollen. A powder found inside flowers. Scarecrow. Something that looks like a person and is used to scare birds away. Seedlings. Young plants grown from seed. Weeds. Plants that grow where you don't want them to grow.
Thank you. Well done.